officer. Does anyone have eyes on her?
She's heading towards the east exit.
So get to the east exit. She's headed your way. Do not let her by you.
To get into this scene, we wanted to create a sense of something larger happening without having to dive into any narrative, since the whole point of these scenes are to jump in, do some action, and get out. So I decided to do one simple shot in the security office to start us out. This shot sets up the tone for our whole piece. We have our color palette happening, we have some sense of comedy in the way our guard plays the scene, and we have some energy with the camera movement, which we had the A7S on the Ronin M4. So in this, we're setting up our tone and final character showdown with this guard that clearly wishes he wasn't at work that day. And of course, we're setting up our flashing light alarm, which we carry throughout the rest of the scene.
For this scene, we were shooting in these super narrow hallways, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to use the XO Ronin combination. What I really needed was the Ronin M because of its lightweight and compact nature. Luckily, we had the new batteries in Dovetail, which are considerably lighter than their previous versions. This entire rig allowed me to operate all night without much fatigue. In scenes like these, we don't have a lot of time to tell a full story, so we're always looking for ways in the lighting and in the wardrobe in order to convey something bigger than what is happening in the foreground. So what we used were red lights that we dimmed up and down in the corners to signify like a siren that there's trouble going on or something that is happening that's not supposed to be happening. So the flashing red lights mixed with the guard uniforms all convey the message that she is the intruder and that she is where she doesn't belong, all without a single line of dialogue.
Action! After the first guard office scene, we moved into our first fight, which starts out with a chase. So for this one, I decided to go with the Ronin M and a wheelchair, which the wheelchair really is one of the best tools to have on set. It's cheap and it can help turn any shot into a dolly shot. Then we get to that first fight. For this, I wanted more of a full-on brawl, but one that was a lot more skilled. This girl is trained, and so are her opponents. So I wanted to let that play out without interrupting it too much with a bunch of cuts and shaky footage. I really wanted to let the camera be more of a part of the fight than just filming it, which for me meant wider lenses, closer to the action, and stable, not shaky. To accomplish all that the way I wanted, we brought in the Osmo with the X5 camera. With that setup, we were able to run the blocking of the fight with the camera in the mix, so it became sort of a dance between me and my cast, me moving with them and them moving around me as the fight went on. So we were really able to get in there with these shots and feel a part of this action.
So in order to put this fight together, we have such talented people, but they still need to know where to go. After talking with Ryan and figuring out what he wanted, we sort of walked through roughly where people would go. The scene starts with Ken and Adrian chasing Aisha down a hallway. She hides behind the corner and she throws a kick, which sends Adrian into a backflip. Now we did this by her throwing the kick, making light contact with Adrian, who reacts knowing that we're going to cut after it. The reaction for that shot doesn't include the backflip. Then, in a separate shot, Adrian would do the backflip as Aisha was pulling her kick away. That way he had full control. We also put pads on the ground for that moment so that he could just do his backflip, not be interrupted by anyone else. So once we had designed the fight with all of our stunt performers and everyone knew where they were going to be, we broke it into 3 sections. People can focus on the one part, work on that really well, shoot it, then we focus on the next part, and we're not doing the whole thing all together, which will just wear people out. By the time we get to the end, people are out of breath, they're getting sloppy. That's when accidents can happen. Trying to just keep things down to the fewest number of takes, the fewest number of stunt moments, let them stay in their comfort zone, controlled. And 3, 2, 1, action.
In this last showdown, which has all of the comedy and character in our piece, I wanted it to feel more like the guards' experience of this moment. So instead of being inside the action like we were before, we're outside of it, just watching it happen and at times not seeing it at all, but instead just his reaction to it. For all the slow dolly shots, we went with the Ronin M and wheelchair combo again, since that gave us this perfectly smooth dolly move without having to waste time setting up dolly tracks. Then of course, we have our big stunt.
3, 2, 1, action! We asked Lloyd if he was interested in being thrown out into the wall on the other side of the hallway. And sometimes as a stunt coordinator, you ask someone to do something and they give you more than is expected. The responsibility of a trained stunt performer is for their own safety. It's my job to keep everyone in front of the camera safe, but with someone as experienced as Lloyd, you have to let him do his own thing. And Lloyd wanted to do a bigger stunt than we all thought, and I think it paid off in the end as a pretty good moment. But that was all Lloyd. And we only did it once, and Lloyd was happy about that.
Given that the last shot of the scene was at night and outside, and I was only able to use available light as the airport wouldn't let me bring in any extra gear, I opted to use the Sony a7S onto the Ronin M because of its low light capabilities. This was perfect for our needs for the night, as we wanted a tracking shot of Aisha running from the hangar to the helicopter. Now, the easiest way to achieve this was to shoot from a moving SUV. Luckily, the Ronin M was light enough for me to operate with one hand outside of the SUV as we sped down the tarmac. Then we moved on to the last shot of following Aisha directly to the helicopter. Now, we still used the same Ronin M, but we added a bit of manual movement to the camera, which added a sense of urgency and energy to the shot. Had we gone completely handheld, because of the size of the camera and lack of image stabilization with the lens, the shot would have been unusable. It would have been way too shaky, way too jittery. So by using the Ronin M, we were able to manually add the energy to the shot without all the jitter we would have gotten had we gone full handheld.
So we got another big scene shot all in one day with a combination of Osmo and A7S on our Ronin M, and of course, most important of all, an amazing team of people to pull it all together.